What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bridon League. This is going to be the second game of the day. London Conspiracy going up against Little Busters Forever. And we have a weird situation going on with the bracket just because Album Sheet decided to forfeit their last game. We have a high probability of ties, but I'm not going to run through all the permutations of what can happen because we'll just take this one game at a time. London Conspiracy with 0 points and LB4e with 1. Not going to matter too much if London Conspiracy win it, but we'll see as we are in the draft right now. I'm Mike Loris, going to be one of your casters, going to be joined by MRP. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty well. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for LB4e. They earned 3 wins, and Aspero was given 1 by Album Sheet. So as you mentioned, a couple of different playoff scenarios possible here, but we'll get underway with this one and then flush those things out afterwards.
Yeah, and so taking a quick look at what was banned and what's going to be picked up, we have a rather early IO ban coming out from Little Busters. London Conspiracy's IO, from what I've seen of it, okay, but nothing too impressive unless I'm missing something completely, which I might be. But London Conspiracy taking out the Venge, taking out a rather early Ember, and that's pretty much respect. I'm sure they saw the last game. The Ember Spirits of Little Busters in the previous game went nuts.
Yeah, they excuse me. They do run the IO from time to time for LC, but it's really like Necro, Madara, Skanks IO, like nothing too scary as you mentioned. So it is a ban, I guess, from Little Busters, something they don't want to see. But they'll pick up the Axe right away into the Juggernaut, as you mentioned, and he's pretty darn good. That Berserker's Call overlapping most of the duration of that Blade Fury, and of course piercing spell immunity is very good versus Jug, especially after the nerfs to his armor.
Radiant team.
Right, so we got Axe, and there's just a very bulky frontliner is going to be doing some serious damage. London Conspiracy need to bulk up in their armor department. Viper generally survivable if he wants to go for a mech. That could really help the team, but generally that's not really the build that Vipers go nowadays. But London Conspiracy just going to make sure that their lanes are pretty strong. Juggernaut tends to be left alone in lane more often than not, and I don't know if that's because he's impossible to deal with in lane or teams just don't want to bother, but either way, Juggernaut should be having, the plan is for him to have free farm, and Viper most likely will head towards the mid lane. For Little Busters, they're going to contest wherever they can, obviously. Axe is going to be probably try to run up against a Juggernaut, but I don't really know if they want to be doing that, knowing that Juggernaut is going to have some support behind him.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think you touched upon the point that Juggernaut is more or less very sustainable on his own in lane. So on paper, Axe is a good counter to him, but really, until he gets that Blink Dagger out, has no real way to chase down the Jug aside from other disables being there to help him out. So look for LB4e to pick up a support with a hard disable like Avenge. Perhaps even the Ancient Seal from the Skywrath Mage is not bad. They already have some pretty strong laning supports in that AA there with the Chilling Touch early on. But yeah, either way, Jug should be just fine. They'll probably pick up a couple of roamers who are also decent in a defensive stance from LC here. But yeah, as you mentioned, looking to shore up their lanes. Viper definitely very strong in general, and certainly so versus the Axe with that corrosive skin.
Yeah, so grabbing heroes that could roam around or supports that could roam around Lion is going to be at a premium right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see Shaker being picked up by Little Busters since they just got done running an Ancient Apparition and Shaker duo. It's not something that you would really jump to, as you know, the Shaker typically does have some problems getting value off of the Chilling Touch, but it is something that they have run, and therefore they might run again. But they would probably like to get a range hero to get easier Chilling Touch value in this game, regardless of what they want to pick up. Ancient Apparition is a solid start, and we're going to see an Omni Knight ban actually. LC have run that a couple times in the past, but I don't really know if there's a huge probability of them going for Omni Knight. It does make Axe a little bit hard to run with just because it's way about Purifies, but it's not really too oppressing when you have an Ancient Apparition already on your team.
Yeah, definitely so. So it's not something you were worried about too much, as you mentioned, with the ability to mitigate that healing. But either way, certainly a wise ban in a sense. It does give a free BKB over to either this Viper or the Juggernaut. So Dazzle ban is going to come out from LC. A little bit interesting there. It definitely wouldn't have been something they would have picked up, as Culling Blade does pierce through that shallow grave. But either way, not wanting to feed it over to LB4e, I don't feel like that's kind of the hero they would have went. But Slark is certainly a nice ban for them. Slark definitely scales pretty well. Shadow Dance is nice versus what LC has opened up with, and he is an elusive mid mid-game oriented carry who can scale very well. So anytime you have a mid-game potency alongside an axe, yeah, it's certainly something to be worried about, but LB4e going to proceed to ban out that Witch Doctor here.
10 seconds
And Lonely Conspiracy, they're already a little bit disabled light right now in that they have just one slow, or a couple slows in the Viper. That's not really good enough. If Little Busters want to pick up someone who's going to be like a Slark, like an Ember Spirit, who really demands to be met with crowd control, else they'll just ruin your entire game, then Lonely Conspiracy are going to be struggling for an answer. Queen of Pain, not quite at that point. She does require some stunning if you actually want to kill her off, but she's not going to make your life a living hell if you don't have enough crowd control. She'll just make it a little bit inconvenient.
Yeah, and they do have that Icy Vortex from the AA to buff up a little bit of her magic damage. Of course, that ultimate is now pure damage, so won't have the synergy there. But the Scream of Pain will be buffed up a bit, so that's pretty nice. Also, some mobility to be able to get around the map with the axe with that 1300 range on the blink as of that recent buff. And LC are going to respond with a Tusk here, so they're going to get some roaming potential of their own. They are going to look to remedy that issue you spoke of in terms of the lack of lockdown. They'll be able to get in some of these heroes that would otherwise have a little bit of a difficult time closing the gap in the Viper. Of course, he does have that Viper Strike, but you can only use that on one target. Sigil's pretty nice for Roshan as well, and with already having the Healing Ward, that'll buff up LC's ability to take that relatively early on. But LB4e going to pick up an Abaddon here. What are your thoughts on that pick?
It's usually here that you want to, you know, have right next to someone like a Juggernaut or someone who's just going to be able to go ham. Queen of Pain Axe, they can do it, but generally you want someone who could stay in the fights for as long as possible and rely on the right clicks, more so on spellcasting just because of the inherent problem with cooldowns. It's fine right now, and it is really good versus the Shadow Shaman now that Lonely Conspiracy have picked that one up. They need to have some sustained damage, though, Little Busters, because Queen of Pain Axe, though they're really, really good in the mid-game, they will heavily fall off come late game. And, well, it seems like London Conspiracy, maybe they're not going to look to go to the late game. Maybe that's not their plan, picking up a Shadow Shaman with those Serpent Wards. They could look to push early on, but the late game power of Viper Juggernaut is not to be understated, especially when it has a lot of crowd control backup. So the Abaddon's fine, but it has to really complement something, and that something is going to come very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Shaman not the support you want in the front lines too often, but with that Snowball, should buff up their lane potential quite a bit. Little Busters don't really have much roam potential, but they do have a good defensive tri-lane setup with those two supports. And as you mentioned, they are going to need some sustained damage here. And they'll pick up the Morphling, so the Waveform is a very nice nuke early on, but he does take some time to get online. So it looks like Little Busters are looking to take this perhaps a bit later than LC. With the first 4 picks from LC's draft. But we'll see how they round this out. The Puck was banned out, and they'll actually pick up the Space Cow. So yeah, definitely going in the direction you spoke of in terms of ending this within a timing window.
And they definitely have the heroes that are capable of doing that, like Spirit Breaker. I assume is going to be played as a core, but you know, who knows? Usually when you see Spirit Breaker, it's going to be played as a support hero. You might be juggling around their heroes right now for London Conspiracy, but they're going to be pretty aggressive in the early stages. Morphling, if he gets, you know, a free time as a Morphling, as they generally tend to do, then he's going to be running the late game. And Queen of Pain Axe, those are some really heavy hitters early on. Really, the only weakness I see of Little Busters is that their supports are crowd control lists. Their entire draft is pretty low on crowd control. So, you know, actually sticking onto the London Conspiracy side and killing them off through Snowball, through the inherent durability of Viper, through Healing Ward, is going to be difficult without, you know, having first landing in Ice Blast. But outside of that, Little Busters, though their supports are kind of weak on the damage department, the other heroes are just able to dish out so much that it doesn't really matter what their supports are doing. So it's going to be a race for LC. They're going to look to try to end the game as fast as they possibly can, whereas for Xantic, well, they're just going to be chilling and trying to get this Morphling farm while at the same time running the game with Axe.
Yeah, so definitely, as you mentioned, LC a little bit under pressure to finish this. But either way, they are going to have to play up 2 games and win them both in order to move on. So maybe the mental fatigue aspect, they're looking to play damage control there in a sense. But either way, interesting drafts for certain from both sides. But I feel you touched upon the main point in this game, and that is the lack of CC from Xantic or Little Busters. And they will rely heavily on this Berserker's call from the Axe. So if the Tusk is not called up and he's ready with that defensive Snowball, I really do worry for the potential from Little Busters to get things done throughout that mid game.
Oh my god, are you serious, guys? You just said go. Let's just get this game over with. But yeah, FN the Axe, he's going to need a fast blink dagger as axes normally do, and this game's going to be a lot more important than in others, just because, as you said, he is the only form of crowd control. And LC, it's not even like they have no answers to it. They have the snowball,
Right.
which is, I don't want to say the best counter versus call, but it's up there as, you know, some of the best, just because you won't take any damage, and the call is going to be almost completely wasted should that be the case. So LC, they have answers and then some, and really, if they want to be playing this super aggressively, Tusk is also the support hero that you really want. Grabbing boots first, Ice Shards is very unique in the way it works. It's kind of Fisher-esque, and it won't really be the best versus the Morphling and the Queen of Pain, but anyone else, if they get caught with those shards, if there's a Shadow Shaman there to offer a little bit more disable, then all three of the core heroes from LC, they could certainly lay into whoever is caught if it's one of the support heroes. So the aggressive power of LC is not to be understated, and maybe they're a little bit light on the pushing. Serpent Wards will really be the bulk of it, but that will be coming out in an unknown time, since Shadow Shamans typically typically don't have really the most farm. But for LC, they definitely have enough offensive power, and I think how well this game is going to go for Xantic depends on how much this Axe gets and how much the Queen of Pain gets.
Yeah, certainly so. Their two cores are going to be very influential in this one. They'll try to have somewhat of an insurance policy in the Morphling, but I don't know how well that'll do up against that Viper Juggernaut dual core.
Alright, so we're unpaused, hopefully, for the last time, and both sides are going to be loading up into their lanes. On the London Conspiracy side, we got Spartan playing the Tusk, having a pretty sweet hat. Mato's going to be playing the Juggernaut, also with a sweet hat, although it looks a lot weirder. Relax is going to be playing the Spirit Breaker, Kaiser on the Viper, and at least Skanks on the Shadow Shaman, following up the rear.
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, will be a core Spirit Breaker playing up for Relax in the off lane thus far. For the side of Xantic or Little Busters, we got Akashi playing on that Queen of Pain. Behind the trees is ZJK on his Ancient Apparition. Ajay Setave is going to play on that Abaddon, and we will have the Axe picked up by FN, as you mentioned earlier. And finally, some numbers picking up the Morphling.
It's really nice of him to get a name that's very easy for us to pronounce. We have no idea who this is. That's not the right button. Yeah, he has not a picture that I recognize, because it's pretty much just a white blank picture. So who knows who that is? Who cares who that is? It's just going to be that guy playing the Morphling. And we might have a little bit of a squabble for this level 1 rune, although I don't really think it's going to happen. Ancient Apparition's power at level 1 would have meant that Xantic would have gotten a lot of work done should they wanted to fight over the runes, but instead it's going to be both bounty runes going towards London Conspiracy as they load into presumably just defensive tri-lane and off-lane Spirit Breaker. So when you lane an off-lane Spirit Breaker, you're not actually going to be laning that often. Your job is to get like level 3 and then start charging around the map.
Yeah, definitely so. So he'll look just to soak some XP. Expect a 15-minute GG since both bounty runes went to LC. But either way, ZJK is going to trade blows with Kaiser, and he's not really going to be the beneficiary of that, despite having Chilling Touch. But he will secure a little bit of CS for his Morphling.
And over towards bottom, the Spirit Breaker matchup versus the Axe, though I did say Spirit Breaker most likely going to leave very quickly this lane. He's not going to get much versus the Axe. It's an Axe versus melee hero, and you don't have to play Dota for years to know that that is not good for the melee hero in question. In this case, Spirit Breaker, though he does have quite a bit of armor, a lot of health, he is going to be at the mercy of those counter helixes. Then, of course, we have up towards the top lane, Queen of Pain and Abaddon. This is a very defensive lane for the Xantic side. Really, I don't see any way that they can convincingly kill off this Queen of Pain. Maybe if they're lucky, they get a Hex and they'll be able to kill off the Abaddon, but that seems just as unlikely, if not more so. Over towards mid lane, though, Kaiser's going to get waveformed upon. He's going to be very quickly brought down. Chilling Touch, this pseudo-dual lane of Little Busters doing work, and Viper, no Corrosive Skin, just 1 point Corrosive Skin. Either way, I mean, Chilling Touch is ridiculous, and it will give the Morphling first blood.
Yeah, that's huge for the side of Xantic. Interesting choice from them to put their Queen of Pain up in that off lane along with their Abaddon. As Morphling does have the Morph, so that's pretty good versus DOT damage, as opposed to the Queen of Pain, who's pretty weak early on, and offering that support. Very nice choice from them.
And so far, if they just stay the course right now, they have an Axe who's going to be demolishing the bottom lane. Top lane doing just fine. You'll be taking a little bit of damage if you're a Queen of Pain, but between the shields and heal of Abaddon, you're not in any lethal danger. And Morphling versus Viper, that's right off the bat not a matchup that Keyser should be losing. The Morphling should be on the losing end of this matchup most of the time, but having the kill and also having just inherent CS lead, Morphling is going to have that weakness in lane mitigated by the fact that he already did get a kill, and also he has a lot of help from this Ancient Apparition. The Viper has no idea when the Ancient Apparition is going to pop up, and really it's just that Chilling Touch that's going to be a threat.
Yeah, it looks like ZJK may look to rotate in once again. FN in the bottom lane was creep skipping quite deep. Relax having to pick up some CS under his tower, not really able to do anything about it. And early game power of Axe definitely nothing to scoff at. And ZJK going to take a little bit of harass from Keyser, and he will look to back off out of that mid lane.
So it's a matter of time before the Spirit Breaker decides enough is enough. He is getting experience still, but his ability to get CS is, well, about half that of FN's. His Axe is just completely walking all over the Spirit Breaker, as to be expected, really. A charge out is going to be so easily spotted by Xantic, so it's not like it's going to be surprising anyone, but still it is threatening enough that they're going to have to play in a cautious stance most of the time. And, well, for right now, it's going to be London Conspiracy just chilling, and really Xantic, they have no reason to do anything because they're getting all 3 lanes worth of farm. So they have all the time in the world, and really they're just going to be sitting back and waiting for their Morphling to get big, or waiting for their Axe to get a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, call goes out bottom lane, a bunch of harass into Relax. He'll have to salve up from FN. Full Tranquil's there for FN as well, so as you mentioned. Snowball goes out top lane, however, a Photic Shield is there onto the Abaddon, but the Blade Fury gonna finish him off, and that's the first kill going the way of LC. Scream of Pain comes out, and Akashi, not sure why she stands there to fight up, but either way will drop. Will finish off the Shadow Shaman as well, but definitely not worth feeding over 2 lives there.
Oh, for sure. That was also a deny of the Shadow Shaman, as Tusk is able to kill off his allies. Always a great feeling whenever you do that, because how often do you get to hit your allies? Tusk is going to deny that to the Queen of Pain, who didn't have the Blink. Level 1 Blink's cooldown is like 10 years or something like that, so used it previously, and London Conspiracy get a kill that probably shouldn't be happening on the Queen of Pain, but certainly on the Abaddon, if you close the distance, if he gets a little bit too close to the front lines, then a snowball forward, the Shackle has no way of interrupting it on the top lane. Queen of Pain can't do anything in that situation. It's a pretty much cut and dry situation over up on top, and as more levels come up on these supports, they will be able to dive the Abaddon that much more aggressively, especially once they have, you know, more burst damage from Ether Shock.
Yeah, certainly so. A little bit of a misstep from this dual lane, perhaps overestimating their defensive potential a bit much. And as you mentioned, getting caught out there, not the biggest deal though. 2 for 2 is your score, and they still have accrued CS advantages in the other lanes by the way of FN's Axe. TPs are in bottom though. Charge out onto the Axe, and the Snowball as well as the Shards are at the ready. Don't feel like they have the kill potential being 2 melee heroes up against this Axe, but they will throw out the Shards here. They still do have the Snowball, and Spartan playing this very well, looking to dodge up that call. He will jump into a 2-man call though. TPs are in as well from the Abaddon. A Photic Shield is there with the Miscoil, and Spartan getting low. Trigger is going to be fogged though, however, and FN does have the Battle Hunger, can look to chase him down here. But actually not going to pop it quite yet. Spartan looking to fog him up. He is going to get hit by the creeps. A Photic Shield will be out of range, and Tusk going to be able to retreat to safety.
And the damage output of LC right there, just so pitiful, because Spirit Breaker, he rolled pretty much no greater bashes. He was very unlucky there, and really Tusk, though he is able to, he's an enabler for aggression, he doesn't actually do it by himself. Up towards top lane though, Akashi's going to get caught with the Shackles, will blink out of there alive though, 20 HP, he lives. So close call up on the top lane, close call down towards bottom. Everyone down there gets to live though. Spirit Breaker level 6 is usually a point where he's guaranteed a kill, but killing off Axe at any stage of the game for LC is going to require probably the Viper or someone with a lot more magical damage, because the physical just isn't going to cut it. They're going to try to go once more down towards the bottom lane, or at least Spirit Breaker going to use that as a pseudo TP, but this Axe really doesn't have that much to fear. I mean, maybe he'll die next time if there's one more support hero, but most of the time he'll be okay. Maybe not this time though, because this time there's a Viper involved. Shards will be held. This time will be thrown. Will miss. Another strike though, doing quite a bit of damage. There he gets a greater bash, and this will be a kill. The Viper is just there to steal it. Good job. But they get a kill on the Axe regardless.
Yeah, definitely well set up there, so they will finally bring down FN, and that'll delay his blink quite a bit. He's now sitting at 1350 gold, 7 minutes in, so probably looking at something like an 11.5 minute blink dagger at this point.
which is still a pretty good timing for the Axe, but the more they actually shut him down, the harder it's going to be for Axe to function in general. Over towards the mid lane, Morphling rather, took a Viper Strike to the dome. He's going to shrug that one off, has a full bottle, but Keyser has recovered quite a good deal in this lane, and as just the inherent power of Viper versus the Morphling, plus having a double damage rune doesn't hurt either. He's going to be manhandling the Morphling from here on out, and Morphling needs some help pretty much at all times, or he's just going to be constantly chipped down. And speaking of constantly chipped down, we have maybe aggression out towards top. It's pretty darn hard to close the distance on the Queen of Pain, even though you may have Snowball, so Omni Slash, not even there yet, so it's not even worth going for this.
Yeah, they need to get the Shadow Shaman in range somehow, and without a blink, that's pretty near impossible. So, Replicate was out mid lane for Morphling. Definitely a nice one with the maxed out Karofa's skin, but that expires now, so no advantage in the way of that. Axe has retreated to the jungle. He's going to farm up a stack here, and he will be able to find his blink at a much quicker timing than earlier anticipated, with a couple of stacks set up for him in that Radiant jungle.
Top lane Snowball is there, but the turnaround also onto Akashi. They're going to shackle him, but they don't actually get good Omni Slashes. It's going to kill off the Abaddon, actually, so it is good Omni Slashes. And now Madra is going to collect the Queen of Pain kill as well. Dropping that healing ward, he should be A-okay, as actually, no, the Morphling's going to come in. Wait for him, misses though. Madra still alive for the moment. Snowball is there just to slow down the Morphling a little bit. Spartan is not going to pay the price either, because he has 10 stick charges. As long as he uses those, he should be fine. Another waveform, no more mana is there, and here comes Relax. The cow is incoming with the shards, with the charge, with the Nether Strike as well. Morphling's going to take a fall, and now they're going to try to go for Ancient Apparition. Gets a first hit bash. If he gets another one, that's a kill, but Queen of Pain's going to return, killing off the very greedy Juggernaut. Decided to stick around for a little bit too long. ZGK is going to be dying to earn charge of something else, as Queen of Pain claims another kill onto that Tusk. Now they're going to man fight. Relax needs greater bashes if he's going to win this, but he's just not drawing any. Akashi's going to chase him down, also doesn't have any mana, so Queen of Pain probably can't get a kill here either. But overall, it's just a bloodbath up on the top lane as Akashi collects big after having died first.
Yeah, Spirit Breaker pretty tanky, innately 7 armor and a big HP pool, but Akashi could have sticked up there for a blink. Either way, not sure if she would have found that kill. Regardless, a little bit of luck from her. One creep dies, she gets her Sonic Wave level 6 and is able to finish off that second kill in the Tusk. So nice return there from Akashi. A little bit of questionable play from the Morphling. He tried to replicate and jump forward to it, as opposed to waiting like another second for the mana for his waveform, and therefore was unable to kill that one off. Jump forward mid lane waveform, as well as the call is there. There should be a Culling Blade coming, and there's your first dunk of the game up onto that Viper mid lane. And the Morphling chasing deeper, looking to find Skanks here. He's going to get hexed up, and the Snowball is inbound as well as the Shackle here. But the Abaddon is there from the low ground. Waveform will finish off that Shadow Shaman defensive Snowball used by the Tusk. And they're actually going to go down to the low ground. They may feed over the Tusk's life here. And nicely played by Xantic, but they will lose the Abaddon. Waveform forward, Icy Vortex is there. Should be overall a 4-for-1, and the jump forward Culling Blade is there from FN as well. Huge trade for Little Busters.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cute move. You're not going to be able to kill off the Morphling in that Snowball, so it certainly caught Xantic by surprise, the fact that they went to the low ground, but the reason it caught them by surprise was because it really wasn't a good decision.
Yeah.
You go into that situation, you have nowhere to retreat to, and your Tusk is not healthy to begin with, so your Tusk is pretty doomed, and then your Spirit Breaker is completely surrounded, so, like, yeah, you have the element of surprise, but it's not really going to help you when you're just going to die. LC not taking the best of trades all across the map. They really need more support there, but no one's going to come in. The Viper's not going to come in. The Shadow Shaman was already dead, and the Juggernaut had his hands full up on the top lane, so Xantic, they have just more heroes at the right place at the right time, and we can see the power of the Morphling getting a little bit of help from the Abaddon. Between his inherent evasiveness plus having that additional HP, on the Conspiracy, you're just not finding enough, and their supports are, at this point, at the mercy of both the Queen of Pain and the Morphling, and not to mention the Axe, who is packing that Blink Dagger, going to get charged for now, but unless there's bashes from Relax, a lot of them, he's not going to get this kill, and Relax is just not rolling well with these bashes.
Yeah, unfortunately, the chance on that does not scale at all, so isn't the best ability in terms of RNG, really just the damage scaling with that. But either way, as you mentioned, I think the most pivotal point here is the movement is just a little bit better from Little Busters. They got more heroes in the right place at the right time, and this Tusk as Shadow Shaman combo hasn't really seemed to work out much for LC. Don't know that the synergy is really strong between the two, but they haven't found much off it where return kills haven't been fed over as well.
Yeah, you generally get a lot of success with Tusk if you are able to bring in more tanky heroes, and Shadow Shaman wants to be pretty much as far away from the fight as possible. Snowballing into range for a Hex is cute if you're going to be dealing with just one target, but as you said, Xantic have been having a lot of heroes in the right place at the right time. You're not going to get just one target, especially when a call comes in. FN's going to get one dunk. Now to Spartan he goes. There's a snowball here, but he's too late. He's already dead. Easy kills for the Axe, setting up on 2 supports who, I mean, probably shouldn't have been there in the first place, but still, you gotta respect this power of the Axe. Spiritbreaker gonna try to make something happen in the mid lane. Maybe it's going to be a 2-for-1 support trade, but here comes the Abaddon. If they don't kill this Ancient Apparition right now, I think the Abaddon might just bail him out. Lots of healing is there. Akashi misses a Scream of Pain, but he still has a Sonic Wave. Going to throw it, gonna cut through 2 of them. Akashi can take a lot of damage. He has a double damage rune, and he has enough to kite relax, I think. No, he gets a Greater Bash with the charge through. Now he's gonna straight TP out, and Axe is a little bit too far away to help out. Comes in a little bit too late. They don't actually get the Spirit Breaker, but it's not the worst trade for Xantic, as maybe it's going to go a little bit better for LC, but as far as their ability to reinforce, that just wasn't there for LC's top lane.
Yeah, they're very heads-up play by the Spirit Breaker to TP out there. A little bit of a misstep from Akashi. Blinked down here in front of the right clicks of the Viper, as well as the Spirit Breaker. Probably could have blinked up to the steps here and had a little bit of an advantage in terms of vision and able to drop that Sonic Wave just the same. So either way, does feed over her life. Maybe, as you mentioned, with that double damage rune, feeling a little bit pompous there, and does feed over her life.
You gotta remember, Spirit Breaker is one of the tankiest heroes innately in the game, has a ton of strength growth.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's not that much, but he still has a lot of strength. That's what I meant to say, of course. So he's gonna be really tanky, and you need to burst him down or probably just not man-fight him, because the longer you man-fight, the odds are you're going to get bashed eventually, and that's just what happened to Queen of Pain. Up towards top, though, Xantic not really going to slow down. Their Morphling is getting pretty much free farm right now. 2-1-5 with an ultimate orb in tow. The Morphling is getting a relatively easy early game, as far as early games can be, and he's going to claim a tower shortly thereafter. This Morphling is going to get really, really huge, and this should be a Lincoln Sphere game. It seems like that will be a pretty safe way to go. The trade might be there for LC, but Madra's actually going to get bashed, and he's actually stuck in the Serpent Wars. No! Skanks, you just might have killed your ally.
That time when you ward trapped your teammate. Either way, charge goes out in front of the pit. They're going to find Akashi here. He's going to drop really low. Viper Strike is there as well. Should tick him down. And as he walks around the corner, he will get miscoiled up and actually saved by the Aphotic Shield. Roshan dropping really low, but no one in the pit. They're looking to chase down FN here with Madara, who has picked up a haste rune, as well as that Mask of Madness. Relax is going to finish off ZJK. Ajisitave is there. He's going to have a snowball popped into him. Borrowed time going to expire here, but a 2-man call is there from FN. They'll bring down 2. That's a 3-for-1 thus far. Kaiser looking to chase down FN, though, and they will be able to do so. Aegis has gone the way of Madara. Sonic Wave comes out onto 2. Waveform finishes off the Aegis. Keys are getting really low as well, but he'll be able to run out. And Madara's Juggernaut, with no Omni Slash available to him, is going to look to cut his way out through the trees, and actually should be fine with that Mask of Madness to remove himself from the danger.
After all is said and done, London Conspiracy not taking the best initiation to that fight because they were really banged up in that Roshan pit to begin with. The Juggernaut and Shadow Shaman were really messed up, and it's good that they didn't actually get jumped on immediately, or else it would have been just even worse. They do end up getting the Roshan kill and the Aegis, so things aren't too terrible in that regard, but man, the value that Xantic are getting out of this Axe, the tankiness of this hero. He ate an entire Omni Slash, but he only lost like a third of his HP. He didn't really care at all, and he's going to have his Aghanim soon. This is one of the faster Aghanims that I've seen coming out from Axes, and it's not really going to be the most game-breaking Aghanims in the game. I think that one is probably going to be reserved for the likes of Shadow or Ancient Apparition, but still, it does get the job done, and this Axe is right now just running around without any sort of answer for LC. They can't really afford to waste their time trying to focus him down just because it'll take too damn long.
Yeah, you said it earlier that the Shadow Shaman really wants to be as far back as from the engagements as possible, and that's something we alluded to in the draft. So even though the Aghanims won't be super influential as it would for that 17-second duration Ice Blast, that one Helix basically means you can dunk up this Shadow Shaman at level 2 with that Culling Blade. So yeah, will be a nice pickup, but as you mentioned, some of the more tanky heroes on the LC side aren't too worried about it.
But right now, Xantic, they are really only having to worry about a really farmed Juggernaut on the other end. He's the only one whose items are translating into something substantial. They're going to go on a roaming path, going to find Akashi, going to catch him with the Hex mid-blink, and the Shackle. What range is that? Oh my god, that Shackle just, yeah, feeling pretty happy today. Queen of Pain is going to take a fall, and really there's not much you can do over there for Queen of Pain. She realistically couldn't have any faster reaction time. She blinked straight away, but Hex comes out immediately, and then that is just going to be that. Queen of Pain down, and London Conspiracy going to translate that into a tier 1 tower. Serpent Ward's not going to trap Madra this time, and this tower, though it's going to get Ice Blasted, and in theory Xantic can defend this with an Axe blink in. It's a little bit too much with those Serpent Wards there. They're going to let this tower fall, and London Conspiracy can be really happy about that, especially if they get mid lane where actually Morphling is going to waveform dodge that charge, and he'll be A-okay.
Yeah, so nice pickup there for LC. A little bit of an influx of gold going their way. They're starting to come back into this one after an early lead was accrued by Xantic. 1,000 net worth lead, very modest in the way of LC, and 2K in terms of experience.
Double Mask of Madness from London Conspiracy now. One on the Juggernaut, who is more on the fragile end, but he's like a glass cannon. Relax is a little bit more durable, so he's not as blast, but he is still a freaking cannon right now. And Xantic, they're going to have to worry about this just a little bit more. Really, the Abaddon's job right at any stage is to protect whoever's being focused by the Spirit Breaker Juggernaut, but I don't really know if he's going to have enough time to do that, given the damage output of those two heroes. London Conspiracy, tower's going to be sieged over in the mid lane, but it's going to be FN off to the side with that Aghanim's prepped and ready. Jump forward for a call onto Madra. Here's an Ice Blast coming in, plus a Sonic Wave. Dunk going to miss, actually. No, it's not. He's just canceled. Now he's going to kill the Juggernaut with that Culling Blade. And Juggernaut trying to spin away, not quite going to make it. And with that, they also clean up the Sigil. This should be a tower push, just because Axe is still an ever-present threat here. And London Conspiracy, they can't fight without an Omni Slash. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it was a beautiful anticipatory call there. There was no vision onto Madar's Juggernaut. Snowball defensively used by Spartan. He's going to get Shadow Struck up and waveform forward as well. Cull's going to be a bit early, but they'll finish him off. And that kill goes the way of the Morphling. Relax in the backlines has picked off ZJK with his charge and should be just fine to get out. FN is going to be able to call up Keezer though. Scream of Pain will be there. Waveform to the high ground. Nether Strike goes down onto Akashi, but Relax going to have to look to back off here. He will charge through the entire lineup of Xantic. They will be able to shackle up FN, but Skank's getting very low. They'll bring down the Axe though before he's able to close the distance, and the Morphling next to fall as well. And that's 3 thus far gone down for LC. Only the Tusk and Madara gone early on. Relax looking to pursue for more blood, and with the Omni Slash they'll find Akashi as well. Madara moving way too quick with that Banta and the Mask of Madness.
Man, the value that London Conspiracy got out of their skills in that last fight was insane. Like, yeah, they didn't really start it off with the numbers advantage, but they got a 4-man Charge of Darkness, and if you say that to someone, they at first don't even know what that means. But he got 4 people stunned with that skill, and following that, they had 3-man in the Shock. So, you know, pretty much as good as that was going to be ever within a team fight. London Conspiracy, they, you know, kite out perfectly. They get a whole bunch of value out of their skills, and Xantic, a little bit of over-aggression. Something that Black was saying in the last game, that Little Busters will occasionally get a little bit too far ahead of themselves and will pay the price, and that was one of those situations. London Conspiracy, they kept a cool head, they got a lot of value out of their skills, and they ended up taking that fight now finally with a kill lead, as they are, you know, if they manage to dodge the Axe, then they're going to be pretty much fine to kite around and deal with Xantic at their own pace, because again, Axe is the only real form of crowd control, and London Conspiracy so far have been caught by the Axe, and that's pretty much unavoidable a couple of times, but as they get more used to the Axe in game, as they, you know, have the Viper being the one to get the Axe call, they're going to be more and more okay as the time progresses.
Yeah, certainly so, and as you mentioned, when there has been success for Little Busters, it's been off the back of some nice Berserkers calls from FN. Skanks is going to pop a smoke, and he's not going to be scouted out, so that's a nice little win there for LC, but they don't really have any immediate vision of most of these heroes from the Dire side.
Skanks, he knows that he's in danger, but he doesn't exactly know who's here. Up towards top, an Ice Blast is going to fly. I'm pretty sure Skanks at some point is going to get spotted. There's no way that he's going to get out of here. Oh, Akashi looking for it? No? Don't move, Skanks. Just don't move and you'll be fine. Oh, man. Like, they knew that someone blew the smoke. I guess they... Oh, no, Skanks, no, don't. Don't do it. He has his teammates here. He's now spotted. He has an opportunity for Hex. However, it's going to get eaten by the Sphere. Now Skank's going to take an Adaptive Strike plus a lot of damage. Skanks, if you just didn't move, you would have been fine. Snowball is there because they want to fight around their Serpent Wards, but this isn't really a fight that LC can take convincingly. Spartan going to get called by FN. Sonic Wave will fly through 3. FN going to be focused. In the meantime, it's going to be the Morphling ignoring everything, farming up those Serpent Wards, getting rid of the real problems. Keezer going to get waveformed upon, lots of magic damage onto him, and it looks like between the Shadow Strike and the Cold, it will be his death. Morphling with the Adaptive Strike going to jam it in. And London Conspiracy, I mean, they knew that something was going on up top, but they either have to leave there with the Shadow Shaman, just straight TP out, or fully commit with all their heroes. And they chose, you know, an awkward middle ground that ended up getting a lot more heroes killed.
Yeah, certainly so. I don't know if it's worth placing that ward there, but either way. He'll drop the Serpent Wards in a very unideal situation, and they're really not able to get any crowd control off to get any value of that. And as you mentioned in the earlier engagement, the value out of their spells really being what wins it for them. But nice TP out from ZJK, and he will be able to dodge that charge there bottom lane. E-Blade going to be built into by 1-2-3-1-3-1-2. And a little bit of an interesting choice from him. We'll be able to blow up that Shadow Shaman also. He'll be able to prevent heroes like that Viper and the Spirit Breaker from right-clicking. But certainly Scotty wouldn't have been bad as well. But I definitely like the choice in the E-Blade.
And there's no real way that LC can punish an Ethereal Blade pickup. Akashi's going to get charged, gets Greater Bash, then Nether Strike. Nothing you can do there as Queen of Pain except for not be there. But Spirit Breaker is going to get his blood after all. Yeah, the Ethereal Blade is not going to be punished at all. It rarely is. Generally, you get your kill and then you back off, so no real magic damage is going to go your way. And yeah, you might not be able to convincingly kill off your target every single time just because Spartan might be there with a snowball. There might be healing ward interference. You know, just might not be able to get the damage done in time. But still, it's going to be a reasonable item for the Morphling, and really he's getting enough farm that he can afford to go for pretty much whatever he wants. And you could shotgun down one target, that's good enough, and Tusk is also a viable target, to a lesser extent the Juggernaut. But it's a fine item for Xantic, and it'll allow them to get rid of the problem here on the Shadow Shaman, because again, that is most of the crowd control from London Conspiracy. Yeah,
and he's definitely the main target here, and one of the easier ones to bring down Waveform. And the Adaptive Strike over top the E-Blade is a definite kill every time. Maybe even the Adaptive Strike not needed there. But either way, Shard's going to scout things out on the high ground. Radiant Ward placed here defensively by the Abad. And Keezer's pushing out the bot lane. It looks like it'll be an Aghanims build for this Morphling. So another thing to pierce the Lincolns, aside from the Shadow Shaman's toolkit, as well as the Omni Slash first jump and even the Snowball.
Yeah, so we got the Aghanims coming up on Keezer. Nothing too much on the supports of London Conspiracy. This Shadow Shaman really wants to get himself a Blink Dagger. His pushing has been okay so far, but pretty sure Serpent Wards have only been dropped once to take a tower, and that was on the bottom lane. Even though they have taken 3 towers, that was pretty much independent of the Shadow Shaman. They still have a tier 1 top lane tower to take, and taking items like that will get you that much closer to a Blink Dagger. Still, it's not going to be the best way to initiate, since Shadow Shaman doesn't really want to be the first one in. But on small scale ganks, that's going to be probably London Conspiracy's safest way of initiating that fight. If you have someone charged up and you know that they're alone, yeah, you're probably going to get that kill. So it's on the way for Shadow Shaman, but man, he's so fragile that it's not going to be unheard of for him to die several times before he's going to actually pick up the item.
Yeah, Replicate out bottom right into the face of the Tusk from the Morphling, and that's an easy solo kill. Going the way of 1-2-3, so very little bit of luck there, but nicely played to have that defensive Replicate available to him.
Morphling's going to get that much closer to his Ethereal Blade. He actually does have it completed and flying out to him right now, so he's packing a cannon right now, and the ease at which he killed that Tusk means that with this Ethereal Blade, he'll definitely be able to shotgun him. Maybe not completely 100-0, but like 100-5 or something like that. Either way, it's just easy mop up with a couple of right clicks thereafter, assuming he's all alone also. If he has any sort of teammates there, an easier kill. So Xantic, their Morphling is getting awfully big. The Juggernaut, though, is slightly bigger than the Morphling. Has a lot of gold tied up in that Blink Dagger, and it's a very useful item for Juggernauts to have, but in an absolute man fight, Morphling most likely going to take the win there. It's still not too bad for London Conspiracy, all things considered. Their Viper, Spirit Breaker, maybe falling behind the Axe and the Morphling, but at this point, Axe is very quickly starting to take a dive in his power levels.
Yeah, and he's opting for a BKB here, so not going to supplement his damage at all. We'll be able to perhaps get off some more reliable calls in these engagements. Snowball goes out bottom onto the Morphling, but he'll be able to dodge that with the Waveform and kill off the Tusk here. So well played by him once again. Should be an easy tier 1. Going the way of Xantic, and perhaps they look to push forward to this tier 2.
And Morphling has 25 strength still, that he can morph into agility. If he had that, pretty sure the Adaptive Strike combo, the shotgun combo, would have just outright killed off the Tusk. Instead, it's going to be a tower destruction down to his bottom lane. Tower denied towards top. Omni Slash, though, as they jump in onto FN. So many skills being committed, but Axe did not see that one coming. it is a tower trade that is going to benefit the Xantic side, as they get the tower deny instead of the tower destruction on the... they get a tower denied and a tower destroyed, whereas LC just get a tower denied from them. But killing off the Axe, though it does take an Omni Slash, can be pretty nice for the LC side, especially if they get a little bit more given this charge. Akashi is not going to see this one coming either. He has to TP out like right now, but he doesn't even have a TP, so here comes the charge. Blink was already used there. No, he cancels the charge to earn. That might be a mistake. Akashi, though, going to get Greater Bash once, going to blink away. He's going to be fine. That was some misplay from Relax.
Yeah, a little bit too early on the trigger there, and if he gets that stun off, as you mentioned, certainly a kill. But they can retreat into the Roche pit now, and Xantic is a little bit out of position to defend this. Roche melting very, very fast to that Mask of Madness Madara, and they'll be able to bring him down relatively quickly. Not even going to use the Sigil for that one.
Yeah, why waste the Sigil? It's only level 1, so it's not really the hugest game swinging item of the game, but it still is a constant annoyance for Xantic, and it's something that they have to deal with, or they'll feel very inclined to deal with. So you got Roshan down. It's going to be Modric to grab that double life. London Conspiracy, they do have Serpent Wards available in 30 seconds, and by the time they actually want to push, they will have those available. Are they just about ready to fight? I mean, they can wait a little bit longer to get the Spirit Breaker, you know, Assault Cuirass, or get Viper, Manta Style, or something like that. These are all nice items to have, but I think they're powerful enough to make a play right now, given the very recent pickup of the Aghanim Scepter Spirit Breaker, Aghanim Scepter 4 Spirit Breaker, so he does have that going for him, and a Basher on Juggernaut. So for London Conspiracy, this seems to be go time, and it seems to be like it's going to be top lane where they're going to set their sights. Serpent Wards level 2 will melt the tower pretty quickly.
Yeah, Akashi's illusion is going to get charged bottom, so for once he won't get killed off. It's actually a replicate from the Morphling, so it does seem real. The Morphling actually going to jump in with the E-Blade combo, and he'll be able to bring down Relax. Nicely played by 1-2-3, and that's a great kill for them, especially after that pickup. Mid lane call goes out, Ice Blast, Sonic Wave is there as well, Dunk onto Keezer, and that's 2 big kills across the map, going the way of LB4e, and that should sound at least this tier 2 push.
And if London Conspiracy were planning on making that top lane push that I was just describing, it's certainly not going to be the case right now, as Xantic have all the heroes minus the Morphling assembled in the mid lane, and Axe just looking for an angle to jump in, catches Skanks, gets snowballed though. That's the counter we were talking about previously, but they're also lining up pretty darn close. Axe can take a little bit of damage from the Walrus Punch, nothing substantial, does decapitate the Shadow Shaman, chasing forward. Force Barn has another call, will catch the Tusk, and now Tusk is in a hell of a lot of trouble, gets dunked from half of his HP pool. That's going to be 2 more kills for FN. They're going to be looking for more, they won't find any more, because there's actually just no one left here. Modric is actually going to be closing in for a chase, decides to blink out in the end. Meantime, Morphling kills off a tower down on the bottom lane, and this tier 2 mid lane tower also very vulnerable at this stage of the game. It just seems like London Conspiracy, they're just way too scattered for this. If they were all together, and if they were fighting as 5, this would not be happening, but deciding to do things in small squads, not exactly best. Now Modric going to pick a fight with Morphling, gets obliterated, and Morphling is out just like that. I don't know what the plan was there, but it wasn't a good one.
Yeah, certainly so. They feed over the Aegis as well as 4 other deaths in that engagement. And Xantic completely going to extricate themselves from the situation, retreat, and go back and farm content with their spoils. And that's a big win for them. They pick up a Manta as well onto the Morphling. So things looking very good now. Axe also completed up his BKB, so we'll be able to get off a few more reliable calls, as we mentioned earlier. And being as that is their only form of lockdown will be a pretty big deal for Little Busters.
Yeah, so having that, just being able to walk right in and not really fearing your life, even though, honestly, he wasn't really fearing his life anyway. If you're London Conspiracy, it's actually not going to matter too much, since I don't really think the plan was to disable the Axe in general, which is kind of a weird pickup in my eyes, as Axe could have gone for anything else, would have been just fine. Smoke in the mid lane blown, as Spartan's going to get almost completely killed off. He is going to snowball forward very slowly. Skank's going to blink in, trying to go for that Morphling, but they don't have quite enough focus. Omni Slash going to be split between Illusions. In fact, Illusions can take most of the heat. Here comes the Ice Blast, as FN's going to jump right in with a 2-man call. Ice Blast going to land 2. Sonic Wave flying through. Relax is in a lot of trouble right now, and he's going to be brought down. Keezer awkwardly left alone right now, and he's going to try to slowly make his retreat, but I think there's a Culling Blade waiting for him. No, not quite. Morphling going to take the Karma kill there, and London Conspiracy get absolutely mopped. Omni Slash onto the Morphling is probably the best bet for London Conspiracy, but and turn around with the call, with the Axe Dunks, with the Ice Blast, and the Sonic Wave. That's just way too much burst damage. London Conspiracy, they're going to lose at the very least this tier 2 tower, and I think Xantic might be looking for a little bit more, maybe 2 tier 2 towers are in store for them.
They definitely have to look to at least force buyback onto Keyser, and he's down for another 35 seconds. Glyph is going to be popped here on the first round of towers, and they should be able to sell the high ground push off the back of that decision from LC. So it'll be interesting to see how far forward they force here with this advantage. The graphs have spiked considerably from this last little bit, and over 5k lead now generated in net worth, and about the same in experience going the way of LB4e, but it looks like they'll be content to just find this tier 2 in the top lane without a glyph available to LC.
Lonely Conspiracy, man, if they had an Aegis there, I don't really know if it really would have made much of a difference either. It's just the chaotic nature of how they're taking fights. They're going in for the Morphling, which is probably the correct thing to do, but going to the Morphling means you have to go through the Axe and the Queen of Pain, and that's just damaging them way too much. By the time they actually get to the Morphling, they're out of gas, and then they need to actually kill off the Morphling, and that's just not going to happen when he's packing that shotgun. So, London Conspiracy and Abyssal Blade on the Juggernaut going to help, but, I mean, unless he's going to have to actually get that down in the Morphling, and he's going to need a lot of time to right-click the Morphling. And if he slips up for a little while, the Ghost Scepter or Ethereal Blade for the Morphling is going to mean that the Juggernaut's work is pretty much all going to go down the tubes. So, London Conspiracy, they need a really scattered fight right now. They need to take numbers advantage, but it just seems like Xantic, throughout this entire game, are just not letting London Conspiracy get that type of fight.
Yeah, and Madara's advantage that he had secured for pretty much the first 25 minutes over this Morphling has now dwindled down and been surpassed. And he has picked up an Abyssal Blade, so certainly a very nice item for him. Can cast that through the Omni Slash as well. But already one Ultimate Orb on the way to his Scotty is this Morphling, and he's got 1,600 gold in his pockets as well.
So the Queen of Pain just picked up a Shadow Blade. I don't really know if this is the best item to grab as Queen of Pain, especially 33 minutes into the game, and especially since she made no attempt at hiding it whatsoever. It's going to force London Conspiracy to buy a little bit more detection. It's going to punish them a little bit for not having many crowd control effects, but I don't really know if this is entirely worth it for Akashi.
Yeah, it's really, really weird pickup. Perhaps she's worried about those ganks from the Spirit Breaker, but you could just as easily have an Orchid or a Hex and drop that on him as he's charging in. It's much quicker cast animation than is that Blink. Speaking of which, Relax is charging in now onto Akashi. He'll use the Shadow Blade there, so there's no dust, but still a little bit weird. Jump forward call is going to whiff onto Skanks, and there will be another strike as well as the Abyssal Blade and the Omni Slash onto FN. He's going to fall here. Walrus Punch going to seal the deal, and nice clean pick off going the way of LC, but there is a buyback and some split push happening from the Morphling. Jump forward from Madara. He doesn't have mana for much here, and no Abyssal Blade or Omni Slash won't be able to lock down that Morphling.
Wasted 10-second BKB or 9-second BKB charge there for the Axe. London Conspiracy dump pretty much everything they have in order to kill that Axe, and at this point, if you're London Conspiracy, you take no chances. If you have a free kill where you have an overwhelming number advantage, you take it, no questions asked. They get the kill on the Axe, and it's a pretty expensive one at that, and they don't really even get anything off of that either. But at the end of the day, a pickoff is a pickoff, and they're going to be very happy with the fact that they got something after all is said and done after that. So Xantic are going to be slowed down a little bit, and London Conspiracy, if they could get a couple more of those, then they're going to be sitting pretty. This Juggernaut just needs more damage. Hell, everyone in London Conspiracy just needs more damage, but I don't even know who's going to be stepping up to that task, because Viper is going to go for BKB, a reasonable item to go for in any game, and especially as a Viper. And Relax, he's probably going to go for a BKB as well. At least that should be the build for the Spirit Breaker in this game. So the Juggernaut is going to be going full glass cannon, and Morphling loves that. Just shotgun him once, and most of the problem is done with.
Yeah, they are going to look to mitigate the ability for the shotgun to have effectiveness. And there are other two heroes with those BKB pickups there, as you mentioned. But they do find, as you alluded to, a kill's a kill. They do find the Axe, second highest net worth target on Xantic. And we didn't expect Akashi to fall off as much as she has in this one. But I guess that Shadow Blade pickup is really going to hurt or hinder her ability to do a bunch of work in these team fights. And I do expect something a little more influential to come out from her hereafter. But not looking for some big impact from this Queen of Pain. The Sonic Waves have been on point for the most part from Akashi, but that's more or less all she can contribute this late into the game.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, most of the Sonic Waves that have been used have hit 2 people, and realistically, that's all you're going to be expecting. So, she's been on point for the most part. I don't really know how the Shadow Blade is going to help that, or if it's going to help that at all, but man, maybe it's an item just to transition herself into a right-clicking build, but Pretty sure if you want to do that, then there are much better items to grab than a
Yeah.
Shadow Blade. But that being said, she is still getting an okay amount of farm, so she could buy some items and be of some use to the team. But over towards mid lane, Keezer's going to get jumped by a Morphling. Just testing the waters is the Morphling, but he drops Keezer down to half HP, really without breaking much of a sweat. Uses the Ethereal Blade, uses a couple of skills, but that's not going to matter, and even the rest of his team actually going to come in to clean up. Keezer's going to get caught with the call. Snowball is here, though. A little bit late. They already both got hit by the Sonic Wave. BKB is up on FN as Relax does charge through to Module with the Chronos, not the Chronos Tree, the Omni Slash. Going to chop through everything, but mostly onto Illusions he's going to hit. Now he's got to bail because the Morphling is still at half HP, and he's going to just turn around and kill off everyone. I don't know why I said Chronos Tree. That made no sense whatsoever, but now the top lane defense is there for... mid lane defense is there from London Conspiracy, but Serpent Warriors, as powerful as they are at pushing down towers, a little bit slower at defending, and buyback is there from the Spirit Breaker. He's going to force everyone from Xantic back, but man, they don't invest anything for these kills. They once again just catch London Conspiracy completely off guard.
Yeah, they BKB actually finally doing a little bit of work for FN. They were able to dodge a snowball and dunk one up. He did get Walrus Punch after that, and they were able to retreat the other couple, but they will be able to translate this into a Roshan, and with that Scotty up, easy tank for the Morphling, so they'll be able to bring this down. I believe this is Cheese and Aegis. Yep, it is third Roche of the game, and this will be huge if it does go the way of Xantic. But LC, they are aggressing towards the pit, and they will be here just in time for the Roche to fall. However, the Morphling is going to grab the Aegis. Cheese will go FN's way. He's going to jump forward, E-Blade, Adaptive Strike, killing off the Tusk, and Ice Blast is going to whiff completely. FN not able to find one with the call, but does have the blink in 5 seconds. And the Manta is just going to be used mid lane by Madara to push out the wave. So a cheeky little play from him, but certainly very smart.
And London Conspiracy are pretty lucky to have not lost even more heroes from that engagement, as they were not in a good position at all, and Xantic were ready for that completely. They kill off the Tusk. It's not really a hugely important hero to kill off, but I mean, you insta-kill him, so might as well do it. Now they're going to go for this tower push one more time. The Serpent Wards this time are not up. Even if they were up, I don't really think Xantic would be slowed down too much because their Morphling at this point is dishing. Axe blinking forward so aggressively, knowing the BKB and Cheese will keep him safe. Here comes a charge. Omni Slash is there on FN as well, but he's not taking enough damage. He's going to get Abyssal midway, but he's still alive through all of this. Morphling's now going to dive in, go to town on one. There's the dunk on the other. Skanks is on the way out, and that, I mean, is in the body bag. Spartan is going to fight to the death, and his death is soon incoming. Buybacks from the Shadow Shaman and Juggernaut, but they don't have Omni Slash. What are they actually going to do with this? They threw everything at the Axe, but he's perfectly fine. He barely took any damage from that.
Yeah, and an Ice Blast Sonic Wave onto 2 was absolutely huge as well. They should take this pretty much unabated, and the Serpent Ward's just going to be farmed up real quick here. So any defense mechanism from LC has been removed now, and they will watch their buildings crumble. That's 2 free lanes of Rax and a very nice engagement. Blink forward, call is barely going to land onto Madara. Ice Blast will be there to shatter him, and GG is called from LC. LB4e are the only open qualifier team to even take a win, and that's their 4th one of Group D.
And LB4e tearing it up right now, and they are going to settle on a score of 4-2 with 2 points. This is going to, I believe, shut down London Conspiracy's chances of actually moving through the group, but Aspera still have a shot here, and that is going to be the next game. It is going to be at 18 CT, which is going to be in about 30 minutes, guys, so wait till that, and we'll see who actually gets to pass through to the secondary group stage here in the Bridon Cup. Either way, I'm Mike Loris, been joined by Rage, and we will be back in about 30 minutes for London Conspiracy versus Aspera. Congratulations to Little Busters for this victory. It was a pretty convincing one.
Yeah, definitely so. GG, guys.